Hello and welcome to round 7 of the 7th Uppsala Young Champions. And I'm once again, as yesterday, delighted to be joined by Grandmaster Tiger Hillarp person. Tiger, how are you today on
Hi,
this
fine.
fine Tuesday evening?
Yes, I
Eager.
usually I usually play table tennis at this time on Tuesdays, but today I made an exception.
I thought you were gonna say I usually play Title Tuesday or something like that, but
No,
no.
no. Mm,
Actually, that's something I didn't ask you yesterday. Do you play online at all?
yeah, I think you could say that I've been forced to lately. So I mean, if I didn't do it, I would not have any practice. So I felt I've had to do it.
Okay, that sounds. How much have you been enjoying it then? If
How
it's
much on a
have you
scale from
from 1 to 10?
um, 2?
That's not a lot.
No, it's not a great thing to do, I think. I wish I didn't have to.
Okay, I understand.
I mean,
I
it's like I was rambling a bit yesterday about it, but I think I really like pieces and opponents
yeah.
and sitting eye to eye with an opponent and all this, all the suspicions and stuff on the internet. I just feel I don't want to be part of it. I don't want to suspect people
Yeah.
of cheating or be suspected of it. It sounds horrible.
Yeah,
I just rather not sort of.
it's quite an unhealthy environment at times, but yeah, since it is what we are mostly stuck with. Actually, I thought it interesting when I was in Norway just a few weeks ago, and my very first interview with Ali Reza, who's doing
Mhm.
so well online. Well, not just online, but he's been doing well online and playing quite a bit, and
Yep.
he seemed so happy to be back playing over the board. And in the first interview, he said, "Yeah, it's great to be back, and the board is so big." So that was really nice. Um,
Yes.
so let's jump into the action. So I have board one put up, but before we go there, let's take a quick look at the standings going into the 7th round. So we had him with us yesterday. We have a sole leader in Milton Panzer, and he is followed by 4 players on 4.5. So basically, since yesterday, since there were draws at the top, mostly the standings haven't changed so much, except for Vignir Vatna, who has joined the group on 4.5. So it's now Vignir Vatna Stefansson, Hampus Sørensen, Siim van Dal, and Jakub Kusa. So those are the 4 on 4.5, and then there's 6 more players in the group on 4 points. And as for the pairings, so we have on top board Milton is white against Vignir Vatna Stefansson, then we have Siim van Dal who is white against Hampus Sørensen, and Jakub Kusa against Jungmin Seo. So those are the 3 sort of main games at the top, and then the next 3 games also, of course, relevant. So that is for the standings and the pairings. And now let's jump straight into it. We have a very, very interesting position here on the board. Do you want to go back to the very
Yes,
start?
because it feels because I saw this game a bit earlier when I watched. This is a bit strange, yeah.
All of this from the start. I also had a quick look, but I couldn't understand. My theoretical knowledge in all of these D4 lines is not advanced enough to understand where things.
I would. I mean, yeah. This now becomes a normal line from the Samish variation in the Nimzo Indian. But I mean, if we just go back to this position, yes, after knight f6, the moment you play f3, we're in the main line Samish position. So the question is, does white have a better move here? And it might very well be that white does not have a better move. Possibly not. No, we have 3 looks right, about right. This is...
So we transpose back into what you say is an main line. So how... I'll just click until you tell me there is something new.
Yeah, which is... we're already out of my theoretical knowledge. So, because usually when you play these lines with b5, you don't play it combined with d6. It's usually played without. So, yeah, it's. I haven't looked at this for a long time, but maybe this is something. If you look up the database, you will see there are like 25 people who played it within the last month, and I have no idea, but I have not seen it.
You mean this B5? Well, actually, since I haven't done that before, but we have the database here, actually. The book.
2019. Okay, so it's very recent, and I guess they know about that.
Magnus probably does, and also Rapport is a very interesting player. So,
I mean that the idea is absolutely standard, and I guess there are older games, but it has not been. I mean, the normal thing was to play. Take back d6, to play in this position to play b5, and then white plays e4, and then black does not play d6. It takes on c4, bishop takes c4, knight takes d5, and now if white can't take back on d5.
I know, I understood what you said, but I was just...
So the bishop now has to take, because if you take with a pawn, there is this queen h4 check, queen takes c4. Which would be horrible for white. So you take with the bishop, and there is a theory for more than 10 moves from now. I played this with white a few times. So the combination of b5 with d6 is a bit
new. Probably.
It didn't used to be a main line.
I understand. So let's see. White continued with knight e2 takes. And the knight jumps to f4, takes. And okay, for the moment, black is a pawn.
I like this move, h4. I do.
So what's the idea behind h4? Or, well, you're cutting off and stopping this queen, I guess, in some lines. But is the idea, well, we saw it in the game.
I mean, yeah, what I wonder when I see this position is what would happen if white plays g4 immediately instead of h4. That would be my first.
And you don't care about this check. Yeah?
No, just king d2. This is probably played a bit, and then something like knight f4, white takes with a knight, pawn takes, king c2, and black probably plays something like g5. And then black will continue with h5, and this is maybe bishop d2 now.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Maybe black can play h5 immediately instead of
g5.
Yeah, then we take on f4. That doesn't look right. Yeah, this is very fishy for everyone involved.
So we avoided all that by going h4 instead, and now
it's logical.
Yeah, the queen comes out on the other side.
I mean, I would be super happy with white here, but this move, bishop e3, I don't understand the move. Well, I mean, what is it doing there? Is it that maybe he wants to place his queen, but what you do want to do here is to move your knight from g3 as fast as possible to g3. It's the only good square there is, and then it can go to f5 later.
So you want to defend this pawn, yeah?
Yeah, so I would probably play queen c2 invites bishop a4. That's not so nice. Bishop d7, bishop h4. I would rather not that. King f2 wouldn't be another normal move, but then there are like sacrifice. Maybe bishop takes g4, followed by
another
or
mess.
take on e4 maybe even.
Yes.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
And it's still not sure, but yeah, I guess Milton, he wants to play. Now I understand. After going through all these lines, I realized that the reason why he plays bishop e3, which is not really a move you want to play, is that he wants to continue with queen d2 so that he can then play knight g3. But then he's basically spent 3 moves to play knight g3.
Yeah.
And that makes me think that maybe king f2 is more critical, because the sacrifice on e4 or g4, they are fishy. I mean, they might work, but probably not, because after something like king g2 now, you can't take on c3 because of the bind with queen d2. And yeah, no, I think white is just better here, so this doesn't work. And that means that next, after black has to play a move here. On knight bd7 now, I can consider to play knight g3, and then if you take on c3, I play bishop e3 now. And now I get stuff like bishop rook c1, knight is headed to f5. I get a lot of tempes for this extra pawn.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe it's better to play what Milton did. Yeah, it could be. I'm just sometimes too happy to give up pawns. I would actually, this might sound strange, but I might rather go with the bishop to d2, because the bishop is not well placed on e3. I mean, it's horrible on d2, but is there really such a big difference if it goes to e3? The only difference between d2 and d3 is that if you go to e3, you have to spend an other tempo with the queen in order to move before you can move the knight. So I like bishop d2 more.
So let's see, that makes sense. Let's see what happened in the game after bishop e3. Black went h5.
Yeah, g5 necessary.
And the knight jumps back to g8. And now
f4. Yeah, that's so early. Yeah, maybe it's good. Maybe it's good.
Shall we see? So f4, and black played bishop g4.
Yeah, take on e5.
He didn't
Queen
take.
d2.
So what was it?
I would not hesitate to take on e5 more than a second. I mean, it immediately improves white's pawn structure, and now you can continue with king f2 and then develop your pieces.
Yeah.
Maybe bishop h3, maybe queen d2, because it gives up a lot of tempo to play bishop f3 here. And black's pawn structure is absolutely horrendous.
And you're not worried about this pawn is
now
not
I play
that
rook g1, rook g1, take there, knight g3. Bishop there, bishop takes c4. Yeah, maybe.
Can I even go to f3, or my bishop is doing nothing there?
I don't want to give up the e4 pawn, so go back a bit. It's an important pawn, so I think king f2 here is better. But look at black's pawn structure, the double c pawns. If I get to continue with queen d2 and knight g3 here, black's position is absolutely awful.
Can black do something like f5 and try and open your king?
I take on f5.
I was wondering if I had knight here, but then you go f6.
Yeah, I see where you're getting at, but I can probably play d6 then, just and queen d5, and I just will pick up the rook on.
Yeah. And if I recapture, but then
you
I've
recapture,
lost another.
then I play knight g3 immediately, and I'm super happy.
Yeah.
Now black is so far behind.
Yeah.
That's losing immediately. Well, queen b1 is also hanging in there. So,
Yeah, interesting why he didn't take on e5.
I think allowing black to play knight d7 and bolster that pawn is a huge mistake positionally, because really big actually. You should if the swap on e5, there is nothing white can do with the pawn that is better than taking on e5 and forcing black to take back with a d pawn. There is nothing on this planet that could be better than that, because if you play
maybe
f5,
f5.
yeah, but you can always, that side would be closed, and that means that the knights get much stronger. If you just get out the knight on g8, the knight and the bishop is already out. You're not really doing a lot by blocking. You're just blocking the lines on the side where you're better. And there are no weak pawns in the black structures. The knights are lovely when they come to the queen side. They've got b6, a4. I mean, they got squares there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I'm also very surprised.
I'm a bit shocked at that he didn't take on e5, because if we take something, I mean, you could take on e2.
You mean here?
Yeah, but then I take with the king. It's very important, because if you take with any other piece, you can take with the queen and take on e5 with the queen. Probably the best move in this position is to play knight d7. And I think, I mean, taking with the pawn is just positionally lost. Knight d7. And if you take on d6 to go to e5, but now the knight is dead on. No, this doesn't work. It's just I just play king. No, I don't. I play bishop f4. No, I don't actually. That's no. Queen takes c3 is a bit too long, maybe. No, I play rook h3 then. There is a check, and it's annoying. Okay, let's go back. Just one more of the knight e5 there. Yes, in this position, this is critical. So maybe it's time to just protect the c3 pawn and allow myself to go with a rook to c2, and then slowly, because black is not getting out with the pieces on the.
How do you want to defend it?
Yeah, maybe queen d2, maybe rook c1, maybe rook h3. All those moves are possible. But I'm pretty sure that black is dead here, because rook on h8 can't move, knight on f6 can't move. White is bishop pair, good pawn structure. Black's pawn structure is in ruins. No, this can't play like this.
If we have Milton later, we will definitely ask him what his thoughts were. So in the game after knight g3, black got the knight out, and now f5 did it here.
Yeah, I don't like that move either. Sorry.
It's not for I'm not bothered, So g6, f6, and now...
Yeah, so back off there. I would play bishop h3 here. Because when you close off that side, I mean, probably white is still objectively better, but it's quite hard to be white there, because your bishop on e3. Okay, let's see how the game continues.
So let's see, f6. The knight went to c8.
In this position, black can eventually play short castle, and the king will be totally safe. Both black knights will find good squares. And the bishop on g4 is, the best thing you can do as white is to swap it with other white knight. And then you will have this bishop left on e3 and the knight on g3. And what are they doing?
Yeah.
But again, I think white has more space here. And if white is able to take the b file, then it would be very tricky to play. If white is able to dominate the queen side, then black will be worse, because then the king will be in trouble forever in the game.
Shall we see? There's some 4 more moves. Let's see what happened tonight. Jumped to b6, the bishop went back, c4. And now those bishops get swapped. And the knight jumps to a4, and white castled.
Okay, let's go back. I think this is wrong too. And the reason why is that you really need the bishop on g4 is annoying. It's an annoyance, but it's not really strong. So I think white, if we go one move back here, white should go with the bishop to f1, because the bishop actually helps with what happens on the queen side, whereas the bishop on g4 does not.
Yeah.
And I think the reasoning why, and this is really hard, I mean, I might do something similar, but I think white is threatening to play c4 here, and if white gets to do that, then black is worse, because especially if I get to play something like rook h2 and then play c4, then white is better. But the bishop on g4 is threatening to go to f3, but that's not really a threat. It's standing there, it's being annoying. But if you get to play the rook h2, go to the other side, play king f2, then the bishop on g4 is left in limbo. It has to go back and then be rerouted some way. And then there is the threat, then white can use the bishop on f1 to threaten to take on h5, which at some point, if black plays short castle. So I think bishop f1, it would be my candidate move. And I think bishop b3 just invites black to play something black wants to do anyway. And if I wanted to play exchange with bishops, and I think this is a huge success for black. Even if for some reason that I can't see black is being fine, white is fine here, I still think black has been able to swap his potentially bad pieces, and he's now left with the best pieces you can hope for in a similar position.
Yeah. So after castles, knight c5 and rook b1, this is now the position on the board.
Yeah. Yes.
Do you expect black to castle as well?
No, I expect knight d3. I think it's necessary. There's no other move.
Because
you need to threaten, because rook b4 is coming.
Also, actually, I just realized on another note, if I castle, am I gonna get in some trouble potentially?
That's the whole point with so black would actually prefer to play king d7, but I think knight e3 here, just threatening to take on c3 is the main, should be the main. And maybe, I'm not sure what white should play here. Knight e2 is a really depressing move to play. I mean, then black can play short castle, or even king d7. No, king d7, then rook b7 is too strong. Sorry, but short castle. Rook b7, rook b8, rook comes to b1. Take. Or sorry, no, I don't take. I play knight b6 maybe. After rook b1. Can I do that?
And if
I mean, winning this position because if black's queen just get active, it's going to be impossible to avoid perpetual check. So it's very hard for white to do something really active with his queen.
An interesting position here. Black is still thinking. Shall we move on to board 2, where I'm reading in the chat? Hello, by the way.
My intuitive, I have a feeling that after knight e3 here, I think there is possibly some way for white to hold the balance, but I'm seriously unsure of how. And it's quite possible that black is just much better here.
Interesting. I mean, this is going to be a huge game, of course, for the tournament standings, especially if black can get a win here. We'll come back to this one. Let's move on to board 2. Tiger and I touched upon it very briefly before going live. So Seam, for those of you, if you haven't seen the first 6 rounds of this tournament, so Seam had 3 white games so far. The first one he opened with a4, the second one he opened with h4, and then yesterday he opened with h3, and he came, we talked to him after the game, and I jokingly said that it would make sense that he today, completed that with a3, and he said, I don't know, we'll see, but here it is, a3. And I don't know if we want to go through the whole
It's clearly
game.
the best of those 4 moves.
That is true. I don't know if you want to go to the whole game or if we should just maybe go back a few moves and see the last few moves.
Yeah, we can. Whatever you decide.
Actually, let's just go the last few moves because Mr. Peter Pisk from the Czech Republic is ready for an interview.
Well, I see now that already on the move. Yeah. Already move 8. I find strange. Yes. I don't like c6 here because I think the whole point of playing, because now after b3 the knight is misplaced on b6.
So you do think, yesterday is actually probably this h3 was probably the one game that went worse. I feel the ones where he played a4 and h4 went a lot better. But here, do you think today the experiment had a better outcome out of the opening then?
I think now that the knight is, a3 is not an optimal move to have played here, but after white gets to play b6, there seems to be no reason for black to have played c6.
Yeah.
c6 is a move that you protected your d5 pawn so many times so well. So playing c6 here, because white is not threatening to play e4.
Yeah.
And white wants to play b3 anyway.
So what?
Maybe there's a queen b3. Yeah, okay, perhaps. But still, I feel I think white is doing quite well after b3 there.
So c6.
Black rather than bishop on f5. Yeah, it's probably about equal.
There's a question in the chat. Let's just go back here. Was knight bd7 not quite an odd move?
Well, this idea with bishop knight d7 and knight b6 has been tried quite a few times by strong players. I think Nils Grandelius has played it a bit, and probably Hampus has looked at this setup before, and he thought that it can't be worse against a3 than it is normally, and I think he was right. But it's I might have tried something different, but because a3 is not very aggressive in some other sense.
Yeah. And I think we're gonna have Peter on now, so let's bring him on. Actually, I'm gonna pull up board 3 where the Czech player is currently playing while we have Peter with us. Peter, good to see you.
Hello. You see me?
We see you. Well, you don't see me, but I guess you see Tiger.
I see.
Yes. Hello. Nice to see you.
Hello.
Good to have you with us. Peter, I know you quite well. I'm sure Tiger knows you too, but maybe you can introduce yourself. Well, we have with us Peter Pisk from the Czech Republic, and maybe you can just very briefly introduce yourself to our viewers and tell us what you do in general within chess and also in particular in this tournament.
Okay, so good afternoon to everybody. My name is Peter Pisk. I'm coming from Czech Republic. I'm an international master, so it can be said a professional player, but on the amateur and professional level, I think it's the beginning of the professional level. I'm a big lover of chess. I started play at 4, and I'm always doing something for chess. So now I am already 6 years. I am tournament director of European Chess Union. So I help to make the European events, mostly Club Cup and some other events. And in Czech Republic for last 2 years, my position is the manager of youth Czech team. So I'm working with the talented small kids, youngsters, not small kids, youngsters. So this is the reason also why I'm here in Sweden.
And your youngsters, I think I know one of them is doing very well, although I'm just looking at his position today, looks maybe a bit difficult unless I'm missing something. But I think Jakub Kusa, is it correct that he crossed 2300 in this tournament and he made the FIDE Master title?
No, it should be secret, Fiona. He is coming here. It looks that he lost, yes. So he is now next to me with his father, who is the chief of delegation, together with me. So Jakub is playing, if I can say, I was very happy with his performance last first or last 6 games. Today, I think he was a little bit nervous, and we will speak about it. So
of course,
big performance from him till now.
And how is it the first time that the Czech delegation has come to Uppsala, or you have been there before?
We weren't here. I'm sorry, we weren't here before. I got the invitation from Karl Fredrik in the spring. So we started to make a delegation. Then COVID came through whole Europe, so I thought that there will be no chance to come. But then in the end of the September, there was postponed the Czech Open tournament in Pardubice. I think the majority of people knows. There were Swedish players, all the youngsters, the many of the youngsters which are here, the best youngsters, Swedish, they were playing Czech Open, and they told me that the situation in Sweden is very safe, that we should come. So thanks to the Czech Federation, Grandmaster Martin Petr is the chairman, and thanks to his help, immediately we found financial and made the team, and we are here and we are very happy of it.
That's fantastic. Great that you managed to make it. And my final question to you is, of course, how is it there to be in Sweden? You're not in Uppsala exactly, because there had to be some last minute venue change due to some new COVID regulations. But how are things at the venue, and how are you enjoying the tournament?
I have 6 kids with me, together with as I said, father of Jakub Kusa, who is the businessman, a very nice person. So all the kids and we both, now we came back from the coffee. You have here excellent restaurants are in Sweden. Everything is, the playing hall, the conditions are excellent. The hotel is on very high level. The level of the tournament is super, because as here is over almost 30 players, over 2,200, and they are not just 12 years old as our kids, but 20 years old. So a lot of experience, Slovenian, strong Slovenian young girls team. So the organization is, the people are very nice. Here is absolutely no problem. So in this very hard time, for example, we are going home, of course, in 2 days. And the situation in Czech was the best in the spring, but now is maybe the worst in Europe these days. So the situation is very nervous at home, and here we feel freedom, we feel very fine, very safety.
That's good to hear. And actually, one very last question. So you said most of your 6 players are younger than the average maybe in the tournament, and it is indeed a very strong tournament. So how are they enjoying playing there?
Yeah, every round is very strong, so they are very happy, because they are not used to, because the level is really high, and they enjoy all the games. It's very hard tournament, because they are, of course, many of them are losing many of games. Not all of them are in top form, but still it's excellent for them to improve, because it's start to be clear that the chess in Czech Republic looks clock for minimally few months, I think, and so they will have to work hard, and they have very good material, and they understand, they love chess, and this is the reason why they are here because this is the reward for them. They were working very hard, all of them, and we were very satisfied. So this is why they were chosen. So I think we are happy of them, and they enjoy a lot.
That's really, really nice to hear, Peter. Thank you so much for your time. Best of luck. Also. Best of luck to your players for the last two, three games. And yeah, great to hear you having a good time and safe travels back home in a couple of days.
Thank you, Fiona. You are doing excellent job with your Swedish friends, grandmasters. The level of your job and of the Swedish grandmasters, which are very strong players, very fine people. So it's very nice to listen to them and congratulate to your job and congratulate to the organizers.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Bye bye. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
So, international master Peter Pisku seems to be having a great time in Sweden, and that's what we want to hear, of course.
Yeah, while you were speaking to him, I was thinking that I might have overstated the position for black in the first quarter, because I see now that after something like queen takes c3, in position, in end position, if I take on c3 now with a queen, rook e7 check, and then black will play without the rook, so we can start maybe just swap and play something like rook d7. This looks, yeah. And
I
if
cannot
we play
go knight here because a4, I guess.
Yeah, and if we play short castle instead.
Yeah, that I was just gonna ask you, because there's a Mr. Federmaster in the chat is saying after castle can white play knight f5.
Yeah, perhaps, and then with the idea to just play g6 after if we take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was looking at. And now, for instance, if we play queen takes c3, I think queen g2 is just winning.
That was a brutal turnaround.
Yeah, it is.
If this happens.
So, perhaps instead of queen c3, yeah, this is. Yeah, I didn't see how dangerous this was with rook b7.
Yeah, I'm not sure I want to castle into this mess, but I mean, if I don't, then what do I do?
Yeah, long castle seems a bit too much. Rook, I think we have to take on c3 with a queen, but it's rook e7, and then next rook coming to b7 with idea to play rook b7. Doesn't look good.
The other rook.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's still the knight f5 idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have completely misjudged this, because these threats are just super big.
Yeah, very interesting. Okay, we'll come back to this one. So we'll say that game 3, we'll maybe have a look at it later if we have some time, but that has finished in a win for Youngmin Seo. And we were just about to look, so since the clocks are ticking down, let's just go back a few moves. So let's start here, where white has this incredible pawn chain.
Yep.
And basically from here things heated up after e5, bishop h3, e4, and black is now launching his own pawns. And you are going to help me try and understand what is going on here.
I think what's going on is that black got desperate. Because
you think for starting from this f5 moment, or?
Yeah, already, because the queen on a8 is so out of the game here, and it will take such a long time to create any real threats on And the king's like, could we go back a bit?
Sure.
Until move 10. Because, I mean, sometimes I say one of the signs of a strong player is to be able to go back when something's gone wrong. But after knight bd7 here, black is a tempi down on a normal position, at least. I mean, if a pawn on was on a2, you could say that it is 2 tempis, and white, but yeah, something like this.
Yeah.
But still, the pawn is actually, it makes sense to have it on a3 because it keeps the bishop out of b4. So I think something went wrong there for black. I think the right thing to do is just to play. I mean, I would have tried to avoid playing c6 and then just played short castle and then played c5 at some point, maybe.
So
something like this.
Bishop e7 or...
Yeah.
And then try and castle.
Queen b3 doesn't scare me, and c5 doesn't scare me. I mean, now I take on c4 just.
Yeah.
Or perhaps taking on c4 immediately. It's another possible choice.
With the knight or?
No, with the pawn.
With the pawn. Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually I just realized the queen cannot go anywhere. All the squares.
Yeah, no, you have to take on c4 and then queen a4 check. It's basically forced. But yeah, I'm not sure.
Sorry, so it takes.
And then we play c6, and you take, and we play something like bishop e4. And it's just very, very solid for black.
Yeah. So you think things went wrong as early as around this moment here with c6, and then the knight had to jump back?
I would rather play short castle than knight bd7, because I would kind of search for a moment where I might not have to put the knight on d7.
Yeah.
You know, I might want to take on c4 and play c5 maybe. Maybe I would like to play rook c8 and then with the idea to take on c4 and then play c5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So things you think went a bit wrong in the early stages,
yeah,
and then
now
here...
it has gone terribly wrong. Probably a5 is already a5 on move 6 there. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a5 is it's the move you should play if you can break when white plays c5, but otherwise you're a bit too far behind, and maybe Hampus is playing too much for a win here, because after I mean a4 is really asking for to lose the game on move 19. This is the kind of move which you play, because if you take on b4, it's slightly better for white, but you have reasonable chances to hold that position, because the bishop on h7 is strong. You know, it can black can play e5 at some point. You can fight for the a5. You can swap pieces on the a5, and it's not a lot happening. I mean, the c6 pawn is the only potential weakness you have in the situation, and you might play b6 yourself or even b5. So I think black could hold this, but after a4 you're lost. So
because this pawn is gonna be a weakness long term.
Yeah, but white at the moment white can't put a rook on b1, but that is the only good news we have. Because when you play b5 and b6, a4 pawn, when it falls, it means that it's then you can, you know, start giving up exchanges and stuff, and the a pawn will just win the day for you anyway.
Yeah. So, oops, what did I do? So let's see, after here, so how did we get to the current position after b5? And so white was hitting that pawn, and that's how the queen found itself on a8. And black tried to fight back in the center, and yeah, so
Yeah, f4 is a the sense behind it is good. You know, you can't wait here. It's you have no time. If white is allowed to play rook a4, rook a7, and go with a pawn to a6, you can resign.
Yeah.
You might have to resign here anyway. I mean, it's completely game over here.
So let's see, f4, e takes, and g5.
Yeah. I see nothing wrong with just taking on g5. Absolutely nothing wrong with it.
I guess bishop takes.
You can play f4.
F4 even.
Just to ruin the fun for black as much as possible.
And you're gonna bring your knight. You're not in a rush to take a4, basically.
No, I mean, I think black has to take. You can't allow white to put the knight on e3, so you have to take on f3. I take with the knight. And yeah. The queen is completely out of play.
Yeah.
Basically, taking on a4, you will force black's queen to come to a square where it's probably better off than it is now, but only slightly so.
So yeah, he has just taken on g5.
Yeah. I feel that Hampus lost his sense of being realistic. Maybe he was a bit provoked by the first move. You know, it's psychologically when you meet one of those moves, you feel like I played in this weekend in Denmark, and I played this. I told CM yesterday about this Danish IM Jens Ove Friis Nielsen, who is a super creative player, and he played this line against me, which I was absolutely sure he wouldn't play it. I thought like, yeah, he plays it against other people, but not against me, something like this. And anyway, he played it, and eventually I was outplayed. You know, I should have lost that game. I really had to play a lot of really strong moves at the end, just to stay in the game. And in the end, I played a nice combination, but there were lots of bumps in the road. And I think if he'd played a better opening, I would have gotten a better position.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. And I also wouldn't be surprised if there was definitely an element of that, where sort of you're like, okay, you play 1a3 against me, I'm gonna punish you, sort of thing. Okay, shall we quickly have a look at board number 4, the top seed Felix Globerger, who is playing against Adrian Söderström, who's having a great tournament. So far, you told us yesterday, you have looked at some chess with Adrian, as have you.
I saw the position after move. It would just. I thought I even cheated a bit, so I looked what the engine said on some page. So after Queen H4, I think Black was doing very fine on move 16. There, Black is doing very well after Queen E7 here, Queen F2, and I would not kick the knight here. I would play knight f8 or knight b6 because the knight is not going anywhere. And now we're threatening to play h6 and catch it, which means that probably white has to play h4 and now h6, knight a3, bishop f5, and with rook e8 coming next, it's a bit tricky to keep track of. Or no, sorry, I take on h3. I take on h3, of course, and then I play rook e8. e8. You have to play king d2. Perhaps it's not the whole world.
So I guess the reason he played h6 is because he didn't want
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, okay.
h4 to appear on the board.
But knight h5, what's the knight doing there? I don't understand this move at all. I want to. It's the only black piece which is in a good square. I mean, white's pieces are in bad squares too, but
Yeah, I don't see it right now.
Knight f8 would be normal here, but then the knight goes to f4. No, I think you should have played knight f8 or knight b6 before kicking the knight.
Let's try and get to the current position because the clocks are ticking down on various boards. So let's try and catch up with the action. So I'll just, if something catches your eye, you tell me to stop. I'll play through the moves and
but actually black is doing very fine here. Maybe it was genial what he did. I mean, the funny thing is, lots of these guys, of the young, stop, just there for a moment. Knight on f5 still. Because after knight d6, yes, you're going to c4. Yes, you're starting an attack. But it might be better to play something like rook d8. Because then e4 you can take on d4. And if you don't play that, then the question is, what is white's next move? I can play rook g7 and the other rook to e8 now. And you can't play knight e2 because then the e3 pawn is hanging. This is, I think rook d8 is a prophylactic move. If you just think, what does white want to do? White wants to either play knight e2 or play e4. And rook d8 is a move that stops both those moves.
Yeah, it's a nice move. It looks funny to put your rook behind the pawn like that, but when you put it the way you put it, it makes a lot of sense.
Knight d6 is more active because it's aiming for c4 and an attack on the king, but it's because white is so badly coordinated. After when the knight gets out to e2, suddenly white is coordinated too, and now you have two sides who are coordinated. But if you keep the knight on f5 and play rook d8, you have one side who is coordinated and one side who is not.
Yeah. Tiger, let's get quickly to the current position because we are going to have another guest in a second. Ellen Nielsen is going to join us. I know she has many fans on Twitch, so Ellen will be joining us shortly. So let's just try and get to the current position and assess that quickly, and we can always come back to the slightly earlier stages.
Oh, stop there. Yeah. It's interesting to see how these juniors, again and again, they place situations where they have to break up the opponent's side, and they don't break it, they allow it to be blocked.
So you're saying a4 was the way?
Well, I'm saying you should play something like rook b8, because then you can continue with b3 immediately after you've played b4. Or play knight c4. You don't want white to play a4 and b3, because that's a blockade that will take longer time to break down, I think.
Yeah. So here would have been a moment.
That's a very general point of view, and maybe it's just not. Maybe it's good to play b4. I would think a bit before I played it.
Yeah.
I would not,
He spent 2 minutes, but the problem is at the time he already has only 18 minutes.
Yeah.
So let's see. Queen c7 and white breaks in the center with e4. Knight jumps to c4, e5, knight d7, b3, and the knight jumps to a3.
Yeah. Now white is just winning, maybe.
Just
maybe
winning.
Not.
Why do you say that?
No, I'm exaggerating a bit, but I mean, a few moves ago, black was better all over the board. But in this position, I mean, if we go back to the position where I think if we go to a position where black has played b5 and white plays knight b1 here, okay, again, white threatens to play e4. This is what we have to deal with. So what should black do? Black should probably play h5. Because if white plays e4 now, I can play h5, h4, and if the knight moves, I take. I take the pawn just.
By the way, all the people who are waiting for Ellen, I've just been told Ellen wants to analyze with her opponent first. So it might be another, I don't know, 10-15 minutes before she joins us.
Good. So we can have a look at this, because maybe I'm being too hard on black here, because like what I wanted to say before is sometimes when I say these things to Adrian, I say like, why didn't you play that? And he has a perfect answer. He's not one. He's the kind of guy I say, oh, you could have played this, and he said like, yes, but then he would have played blah 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 blah, and then I'm like, okay, sorry, I was wrong. It's lovely when they do that.
Yeah.
What I live for. But basically h5 here again is one of those moves that what should white do here?
Can I play h4?
Then e4 is not a threat anymore, because I can always take with d-pawn and play knight g4, and then I've got stability on the king side, and I can attack with to my heart's content on the other side.
So you're saying basically it's hard to find a good move here for white, yeah?
I think it is, actually. Because h4, it gives black the g4 square after e4 has been played. Black should be clearly better here. Possibly close to winning.
I always find it very interesting to hear your assessments, because if I would look at this, I would never think, in those terms like, oh, close to winning. But I feel like you really see the long term, like.
Well, black has already an attack going on the queen's side, so white needs to have something similar on the queen's side. So white needs to get something similar on the king's side. So if you just get a normal position and black gets to play knight, I mean, if we take something like e4, h4. e5, probably the strongest move. Yes. And h takes g3. H takes g3. And take on h... No, don't take on h1, sorry. That could be a mistake. I just opened the knight f5, I was thinking first. But maybe there's some kind of attacking idea, is there? Take on h8.
Why do you why did you not want to take on h1?
Because then I accelerate the queen and rook to the h5.
Okay.
So no, I'd want to play knight f5, take on h1, h8, rook h1 check, king g7, and now queen h2 immediately.
And
but black is
are you
black
telling me that
knight h5. Yeah, knight g8 could also work, but knight h5 actually is fine. And then after g4, take on d4, take on h5, and then g5.
And what was your follow-up after knight g8, if I try and just keep on my pieces?
That's a more materialistic but maybe better way. And then queen g5 check is hanging, and there is knight takes d4 coming also. Yeah, this looks great.
Yeah.
But what I was meaning was that if white just takes on f6 in this position, then I take with the queen there, and now d4 is hanging. So you have to play something like c3 to protect it. And then I play b4. And now I think it's quite obvious why I thought that white is in trouble here.
Yeah, no, that makes That makes
I
a
could
lot
also
of
play
sense.
queen g5 check and take on g3. So there is like, it's just the quality of black's pieces is much better.
Yeah. Yeah, there seems to, I mean, I agree with you. Black seemed to be doing very well, while meanwhile in the game, after king b2, c5. So we had a few more moves. Let's see, e6. And now the black king.
Knight f8, that's good. Now it's not so clear anymore. Something like c4 maybe? White should be better, just taking on a3. Maybe take on b1 first and then c4. After rook e5.
How do I even recapture? King takes, I guess.
And
And then c4.
then with rook c8 coming, yeah, the question
Can
is
I
how
take here? And then
Yeah.
I want to play rook c5.
Yeah, but okay, I take on b3,
Actually, none of this.
and then queen f7.
Ah,
Ho ho ho.
very nice.
Yeah.
And there's
Christmas
no
was
way to defend this rook, and b3 is going to fall. Black though took on d4.
Also possible. But I didn't want, the reason why I didn't think about d4, taking on d4 at all, is because the queen, when it comes to d4, it's
Not now.
it's such a dominating piece. Yeah, you have to take on a3 first, but just take it and then. Oh, the rook on e5 is hanging. Sorry. Ouch.
Okay, so
Okay. Yet another of those situations where there is system within the madness. So queen takes d4, queen takes c2, king a1. How to save yourself as black? Maybe just rook d8.
Oh, Mr. Opper! Opper is a lead chess legend, and he's keeping us on our toes.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you. Someone who's alert.
So yeah, I mean, okay, maybe black is actually not doing badly at all after c takes d4.
I think I missed a few tactics today. I seem to be very tuned in on the prophylactic and slow moves, but I don't see what's really going on.
These youngsters, Tiger, they are not bothered with any positional preoccupations.
They're better at it than you think sometimes. But this is very nice, and I mean...
So what do you do as
What should
white?
White do here? It's difficult. Rook AE1 or something like that.
Rook A1. Can I go?
Yeah, maybe.
And if I go rook C8,
Take on a3. Yeah, at least we're going to get the c pawn. Yeah, this is... Wow.
so white has taken on d5.
That was a more active way, I guess.
We still need to get this rook into the game somehow.
Yeah. It's not so hard. It's only two. I mean, of course, it was good to take with a rook there, because then now white can then get a knight to e4. So So rook c8 again, I guess, should be the right move here.
Yeah. And now... Do I have time for knight e4 or... What if I go knight e4?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we have to take something, don't we? Take on c2.
With the
No,
horsey.
with the queen.
And the queen.
Swap some things.
Do you have to? I guess you have to.
Yeah.
Refactor.
Take on b1. Rook c6.
Rook c6.
Okay,
You
yeah.
want to give up the exchange? Or...
Yeah, because I need to get my rook on h8 out. c6.
Ah, sorry. I was thinking.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was like, okay, I know you like to give up some material, but yeah, rook c6.
But okay, after rook takes a5, it's possible that white is better here because it's really hard to do something. No, a5. The d pawn is not dangerous. It's even, or at least not for now.
I was looking away for a second because black has not gone rook c8, but knight e6.
Ah.
Tiger, I think let's come back to this one and let's go back and see what is going on the top board between Milton and Vigny Vatnar. So we left these guys after rook b7 when black took on c3, rook e6, rook e7, king f8, takes, rook c7. Knight goes back to a4.
Yeah.
Rook
now white is better. Now it was super. I mean, now white should be winning. So if this was forced, my evaluation earlier was very superficial. But I thought that black could have kept things out of it. But yeah, it might mean at least that white was better already after bishop d1. Because now white is winning. Surely
so
it's not possible.
Let's see, knight c5, the a pawn falls, the f pawn falls. And now what? White is a pawn up, and those rooks look pretty damn threatening.
Rook e7 is mate in 2, yeah?
Oh yeah, what am I talking about? They do look very threatening instead, indeed. So was rook f8 really played? Surely not.
Well, there's nothing better, maybe.
Nothing better than getting mated in 2 moves, you mean?
It's a way of resigning.
And that did happen. And that is a huge... no, that did not happen. Maybe it's a... Could it be a broadcast error? Let's see,
Yeah,
okay.
The other possibility, I mean, what black could do is to play c3. It's the only move that kind of...
The game is over. I think rook f8 was played, and I think he played rook f8 and resigned probably immediately. So that's a huge win for Milton.
Yeah, really.
That's a huge win. It means that he is on 6 out of 7. We'll take a look at the standings in a second, but let's quickly go to board 2, where Siem Vandal, things seem to be going well for him. So we left things off here after f4, and takes, knight takes.
Knight f6, good move. Finally, a piece that's coming to an active square is coming to e4. Yay!
Let me just see, because Milton might join us. Milton might join us shortly. So okay, knight goes to f6. white took on g5, h takes, bishop d2, knight e4, and finally white takes that pawn on a4.
Yeah. Queen b8. I guess the sad thing about queen b8 is that the queen is still not going to any real square here.
Yeah, it has no squares at all, in fact. And white is up 2 pawns, yeah?
Yeah, okay, it's still possible to go wrong here, I guess. Because at least now black has some active pieces.
Again, I'm so confused about why is black still thinking? Is he thinking possibly about knight d2 or what? Why is?
No, take on a4 and then take on d2. But after bishop g2, it can't be enough. Bishop e4, you just take on e4.
So we will be joined by Milton. Sorry, Tiger, in just 1 minute. So you expect him to play queen b8? Yes. I mean, this position looks pretty depressing, pretty grim for black, or what do you think?
Yeah, it's just not worse than it was a few moves ago.
There's a question.
Yep.
There's a question in the chat by White Dancing Rockstar who's saying, considering the knight on e4 is the only good black piece, can we just take it? I don't know if you can see.
Yeah, you could, but you will put another good black piece there. Bishop takes e4, but it's very possible that this just wins, followed by something like queen h5 with idea of bishop e6 and queen j5 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This could be a killer.
Yeah. And meanwhile, okay, I think Milton is ready, so let's bring him on. Where do you want to start? Okay, let's have him on first. Milton!
Hi, Milton.
Hello.
Congratulations! 6
Thanks.
out of 7. You were already the sole leader going into the round, and you have won another game. So first off, before we talk about the game, how are you feeling tonight?
Yeah, great, of course. Huge win, but I don't think the game was very well played. At some point when he played knight d3, that's a crucial mistake, I think.
So let's go.
But okay, we can take a look at the opening first.
Yeah, I was very surprised when you didn't take on e5. When he allowed you to do that.
Did he?
Yeah, I think he did. Or we missed something important.
Wait, where?
G4.
Yeah, I don't know if h4 is the right move.
Yeah, and I thought bishop d2 maybe was stronger here than bishop e3, because after bishop e3 you need another tempo to protect the c3 pawn.
Yeah.
So maybe just bishop d2 and then knight g3, and the knight is coming to e3 later on.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I wanted this setup with queen d2, but maybe it's too slow.
The bishop on e3 and the queen on d2, they're not really doing anything. They're just protecting c3.
Yeah, it could be.
So let's come to, first of all, that moment which was here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I expected you to take on e5, yes.
But if not, if bishop e2, bishop takes
Sorry?
e2.
King takes e2.
King takes. Yeah, okay, I didn't see it at all.
Because this must be quite horrible for.
Yeah, I miss king takes e2. Yeah.
And in
Yeah,
the
this
game,
This looks good.
So probably if you saw king e2, at least, I guess you didn't consider f takes e5 because you didn't see this king e2. Or...
Yeah, that's right.
So let's see, let's come to that moment that you were talking about. What were your thoughts somewhere around here?
I mean, I thought my position was good here, but maybe I shouldn't take. Or I have to take, right?
I was maybe too pessimistic about your position here because I thought that I think I said that I think black's position is easier to play, and that it's although white is probably objectively not worse. I think it's quite hard to be white here because you have two minor pieces that are not really doing a lot, whereas black's piece will come to natural squares on the queen side. But somewhere along the line, so knight d3 was a big mistake. Yeah, I didn't see that.
So should we get to that knight d3 moment, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't sure about queen takes c3 here.
But if you just swap and take on c5.
Yeah, knight b1.
And take on d6.
Knight d2.
And rook. Yeah, I have to go to d1, yeah?
Yeah, but like even here, king d7 maybe. Fork. So.
I see what you mean.
So you cannot take here because of knight
d3.
d3.
Exactly. Okay. Very forced.
So I think I have to, like, after takes on c3, I have to take and go rook c1 maybe. But then I'm a bit worse, I think.
I can take on e4 now, I guess.
Yeah, you can. And takes. And the knight comes to f5, so
yeah,
black is better.
So instead of queen c3, a very welcome surprise for you, knight d3.
Yeah, very surprising.
Did you feel immediately? Sorry, Tiger.
No, I didn't really think because I hadn't seen rook b. I didn't see how dangerous rook b7, rook e7 was. So when knight d3, I just thought black is doing very well, and then we interviewed what's his name from the Czech Republic, and when during the interview I was just, oh my God, this is horrible. I suddenly realized how bad it was.
Yeah.
Did you feel immediately during the game that knight d3 was a blunder?
Yeah, I did.
So after a rook b...
If he tries castle here, I think maybe knight f5.
Yeah, we were looking at this. Yeah.
I mean, it's so clear, but like gf, then I thought queen g2.
Queen g2. We were thinking even potentially to start with g6, right?
And if he takes?
Oh, was it queen?
Sorry. Yeah. Take on with the queen on the queen g2.
Yeah, queen.
Rook takes f2. Rook takes f5.
Sorry. Rook takes f6. Rook takes f5.
Whoa.
Rook a f8. Bishop h6. With idea of. Oh, sorry. I can't play rook. I can't take on g6. Ouch. Then maybe this is not so fantastic. It doesn't work. So okay, but I can probably play queen g5 there. Just should be winning, yeah.
Here.
Up to no, rook takes f5 first. No, it's not so clear. It's queen a6 stuff. C3.
Ah,
Ouch.
they
Oh, no.
actually, there is a message in the chat that maybe here, can we play bishop no, wait, where is this? Bishop b6 somewhere, here. Here.
Yeah. I think the problem might be that maybe black can just sacrifice the queen. Queen takes. Take with the pawn or the knight. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of material.
Yeah, but maybe it's winning because queen h6, rook h7, a7, sorry, take on g6, king
Why not rook
h8,
f6?
rook takes f5.
After queen h6, why not rook takes f6?
Ah,
After.
could I do that? Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Yep,
good question.
Yeah, okay,
This happens all the time. Do you feel my shame?
But like I can go queen g2 instead of g6. Just I think.
Same idea. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite difficult to stop. You can try maybe rook a b8.
Queen a6. Yeah.
And here I can take and go g6 maybe just.
Yeah.
I mean it's very dangerous.
Yeah.
Should be made.
So all in all, a very nice game.
Yeah, thank you.
Tomorrow, the last 2 rounds, it is a double round. How much energy have you still got? Are you still feeling fresh?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's not so usual to end the tournament with a double round, but yeah, a lot can happen still. So.
Always keeping your head on your shoulders. I like it. Milton, congratulations, nice game, and best of luck for the double round tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so a very nice win for Milton. And let's very quickly update the results and see what has happened, what is still going on. Look at this, no draws today whatsoever. They had a long day a lot of free time this morning, so they all came to the board in a fighting spirit. So let's quickly go back to board 2 and also to board 4. So let's start with this one.
He decided to sacrifice in the end queen. And yes, this makes sense.
So what's the material count? I have a queen and a pawn against rook and bishop, but my king is a little bit awkward maybe.
Yeah, I think there should be a forced win here. Queen g4, queen h5. Queen h5 looks impossible to meet.
You cannot hold on to that pawn. Also, Federmaster in the chat pointing out that even in the long term with b7 being a permanent weakness, even if there's no immediate kill,
Yeah.
This rook a3 and white played queen c1.
A similar idea, yeah.
Yeah. So hitting both the rook and the pawn on g5. And this one could be over quite soon. What do you think?
Yeah. Just have to play something like rook a8. And queen takes g5. King h8. And which is the easiest way?
This is all on the board, by the way, so this is now the position on the board.
Still chances for blunders, but it's completely winning, of course. White.
Queen e7.
Yeah, it's good. He's just going to take the pawn on b7 and then walk the pawn, and yeah.
What is there anything after rook a2?
No.
Yeah, probably just rook f8. I'm seeing in the chat.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
Looks good.
So Ellen will be joining us shortly, and yeah, this looks like that's going to be a big win for Seam. So let me just have a quick look. So
And board 4, how was that?
So let's go back. So basically, Seam is going to be the only player. I know Seam and Youngmin Seo. So let's go and see board 4. We left things here.
It's a horrible position to be a commentator too, because it's so. But yeah, it seems pretty messed up for everyone involved. But yeah, white should be better.
So this is now the position on the board with both players around the 5-minute mark.
Yeah, there's a tricky knight g5 after that. Maybe it's... No, it doesn't work.
Why not? Because...
Yeah, you can't... Yeah, you can take it, but you can also just play h4.
Yeah. So queen g3.
And we have to play something. g5 loses a piece, so knight g5 is only move. Now we need something good.
The question is, do we have anything good?
I very much doubt it. Yeah, I think Adrian, he played a good game because he got a good position in the opening, and then after maybe it was almost equalized at some point, he got a very good position again. But then when he allowed white to block the queen side, basically I think a key moment is when black plays b5 and b4. So on move 25, this is typical. This is the kind of position where if I'm black, I will not push the pawns until I see how they will continue to be pushed. I would never actually play b4 unless I saw how it will benefit me later. Yeah. Because if you play b4 and white plays a4, it's either b3 or you should not have played it.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
It was the threat was stronger than it carried out, sort of. So I don't see any reason to play it there.
Yeah. Tiger, we're gonna have Ellen on now. So it's the first time that Ellen has joined the show. She's of course not just a very strong player, but also a very popular streamer. So I know people have been waiting to have Ellen on. Ellen!
Hello!
Hello, good to see you.
You too.
I know I can tell you that your fans on Twitch have been waiting for a long time for you to finish analyzing your game, and they are all delighted that you're here with us now. It's the first time that we have you on during this tournament, so maybe before we talk about your tournament or about today's game, tell us just how are things going for you there in Sweden, and how are you enjoying the tournament?
I'm enjoying the tournament so much. I think it's so well organized. I've played quite a few tournaments under Corona restrictions, and this one is really good. I mean, the hotel is nice, the playing venue, even just things like free coffee, water, and tea. It's nice boards. I really like the boards, you know. Those are the kind of
What's
things.
special about the boards? What boards are they using?
No, it's just like regular wood boards. And those are just some of the things that I noticed, because it's a bit different playing with nice boards than it is playing with plastic pieces and you know.
For sure. Tiger is giving you the thumbs up there.
I completely agree.
No, but I mean, it's just some of the things I really notice about tournaments. If I look back at a tournament, I look at how were their surroundings and the conditions, and those are the things I look for when I think, do I want to come back? Some of the things, of course.
That's great. Great to hear. And now let's talk about your tournament. I have to shamefully admit I haven't followed your results so closely. So tell us yourself, how has it been going for you so far?
Well, in the beginning it was going quite fine. You were following the game that I drew with Jung Min Seo.
Yeah. Actually, there was a question regarding that in the chat. Can I ask you if your opponent really thought he could mate you with 2 knights?
No, it was very clear on his expressions that he really didn't think that he was going to win it. But I think he was mostly just playing because he kind of felt like he had to, and you know, he was higher rated, so he just wanted to be able to say that at least he tried.
Absolutely. And after that, so I interrupted, after that first round?
After that first round, I had a few more draws that I weren't too happy about. In my third round game, I did not play well, but in the end, I kind of managed to trick him, but I didn't find the winning combination even after trying for quite some time. I mean, it was very difficult to see, but I got quite far in the calculations. So I was a bit unhappy that I didn't find that, and that I didn't play very well during that game. And my draw in round 4, I was not happy about either. I was a bit worse out of the opening, but then I managed to make quite the comeback, and I just couldn't believe that I didn't get more out of the position than I did. And yesterday it just felt like I threw away a very good game in the first round of the day, and then I luckily played well in the second round, and then I won again today, so you know, it's starting to go better.
That's good. With still 2 rounds to go, you're absolutely still in a position to come back and fight for the top spots. Today we didn't see any of your games, so maybe you can direct us to where you think maybe the critical moment or the interesting moment was.
I saw your game yesterday. It looked very smooth.
Yes, my second
was that how it
game,
felt also?
My second round game definitely felt smooth. Yeah. I was actually very happy because on top of my loss in the morning, I was kind of sad because things didn't feel like they were going quite the way I wanted them to. Mm-hmm. But it was just nice because it felt like an easy, smooth game in the second round. So I got a little bit of confidence back there.
Yeah, you were just gliding along.
Yes.
Like be the duck. It's like Jonathan Rowson says, strong players make chess looks like ducks floating on the top of the water just. So, it's not far from that.
I don't know, Ellen, can you see Tiger's camera moving, or did it freeze just for me?
It feels like I'm seeing moving sometimes, and then sometimes he does move. Right now he does move. He has a facial expression. Maybe
the
a little
one
bit.
I have.
It's
looks
funny.
like-
I think to me you're frozen, and you delivered this whole duck statement with this really serious face, but with your mouth closed, so it made quite the impression. Let me see if I can somehow bring you. Maybe if you try turning off and on your camera.
Yeah, I will do that.
But what I was happy about
Perfect.
yesterday
Back.
was, what I was happy about yesterday was also that I had been watching my opponent's games from some of the previous rounds, because I noticed that he really tended to like throwing his pieces at his opponents. And if I hadn't seen that before, I could have gotten a little bit scared, but luckily I knew that what he did might not be very sound, so I could just try to punish it and rely on that I calculated better and further than him.
Nice.
And then my little trick in the end, I played rook takes a7 in the end, and that trick was dedicated to Judith Polgar. I've been reading her book, and the first chapter is on tricks, so I thought about her when I played that.
Very nice. Very nice. And then today, what happened today? I saw your game not on stream, but off stream, somewhere around here, where you were up an exchange, but the bishops still looked kind of dangerous. So I don't know if this is a good starting point or where.
Well, first, instead of knight c7, I was thinking that it was way more accurate of me in move. There, instead of knight c7 first, I was thinking that it was more accurate to go e4 first, to try to not allow as much counterplay along the a8 h1 diagonal, because here he has to go bishop b7, and then I can play knight c7 now, and I trade the bishops here. So he doesn't have the bishop pair, and I was thinking this would be easier to convert. And
You're thinking after knight takes a6. Oh, sorry, bishop takes.
Queen
you take with a knight.
No, I take with the queen. The rook is still
But
trapped.
maybe actually works to take with the knight also and win a piece, because of the queen d6, e5, and if the queen goes to e7, you have rook c7, rook d8, queen d8, and rook d1. And if the queen goes to d4, I think rook d1 just wins.
What?
Rook d1.
Yeah, that looks correct.
That's a nice line, actually.
Yes, I didn't consider this because it was only after, I think 1 minute or 30 seconds after I played knight c7 that I realized that e4 was a technically better move to not allow much counterplay. And I didn't, because I get traded the bishop pair, and when I play knight c7 immediately, like after bishop c5 or even bishop d6, knight takes a8, queen takes a8, like the bishops, they look really strong, and now I don't get e4 in, and he can keep the bishop pair.
Yeah.
And then...
And after that, did you feel at some point that he had enough or even here, did you feel how much better, let's say, did you think you were?
I didn't think that I was that much better.
What about playing e5 here with black? I would like to push the pawn to e4 before you're allowed. You can play e4 yourself.
Yeah, I thought he could push the pawn to e5, but as soon as he goes e4 himself, I'll go f4. So maybe I'll play bishop c4 here.
But then I think the drawing chances are better, because then there is a weakness on e3 which is not going away, and you will have to have a piece stay and protect it, sort of. If I now take...
I'm also going to attack myself, no?
Yeah.
G4, G5, F4, F5, F6.
Yeah, you're right.
I didn't think that the pawn on e6 was that much of a liability, because also if he doesn't trade the light squared bishops, I might be able to create some pressure on f7. And if he does trade them, then e4 can also get weak if he doesn't get f5. And if he doesn't play f5, I play g4. Rook takes.
Yeah. Yeah, it should. It's clearly better for you, at least.
But I was considering whether I should go f3 or f4 and what the difference might be. And then I thought, okay, let me just go f3, then I might be able to play king f2, e4, because if I go f4, then I won't have king h2, sorry. Then I won't have the chance to play e4 at any point.
Yeah.
But then when he played queen b8, then f4 was forced anyway.
Completely agree.
Nice.
And I thought e5, like we talked quite a bit about this, but my feeling about the move e5 here was that it made his game quite a bit more difficult in the longer run because he weakens the light squares. And after he played e5, I thought I was better than I was just after I won the exchange, and that this would be quite a bit easier to convert, because if he doesn't trade the light squared bishops here, then I always have ideas with either taking on e5 or just other stuff. Like I thought e5 was just a bit too weakening, and that he had to go for a bit of a more passive defense, because the bishops they're quite strong, and it's not that easy for me to improve. And I don't think the compensation lies in direct attack. I think it's more.
True.
I think it's more just the look of those bishops. Because when he attacks like he did, he also weakens his own king. And here, yeah, I was not quite sure how to take. But my reason for taking with the rook here was that if I take with the pawn, then I don't have any pressure on f7, and he can go rook e8 and improve his position. But when I take with the rook, my calculation lied in the fact that bishop d6 isn't possible, because I can play rook f7. And after rook takes f7, bishop takes f7, king takes f7, I have queen c4 winning the bishop, and this position is completely winning. And when he doesn't have bishop d6 in that position, then it's not too easy to see what else he can do. I was thinking...
What about queen e5?
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. But I thought maybe I had bishop takes f7 here. Because after rook takes f7, then I have rook d8, bishop f8, and then queen c4. And I think this is winning, because after bishop e8 there's rook e4 also, and I don't see how else you're going to defend both the rook and the bishop.
Yeah, but I don't like going into the pin, so maybe because the f7 pawn is maybe not so important, I might want to just go to h8 here.
Yes, that was what I thought too. And I kind of stopped my calculation here and thought that I'd move the bishop at some point, not now because I'm hanging a pawn if I move it. Maybe rook d3 here, because on bishop b5 I have bishop c4.
Yeah.
This was what we were analyzing. But to be completely honest, it wasn't after.
No, sorry. Take back bishop, because I'm not sure that white is better here. I would actually be a bit surprised, because your pawn structure is quite horrible. And the dark squares, I mean, maybe something like g5 followed by king g7 just.
We were actually looking at this. But to be completely honest, I didn't see queen e5 before I took with the rook. I only started thinking about it afterwards. And I had mostly been looking at bishop d6 because it seemed like a natural move, but it just doesn't work.
I mean, here, since you know that when lead chess, when the game is over, it auto analyzes, so that is the lead chess is confirming that queen e5 was best here.
Yeah, I'm really not surprised, because my pawn structure and my dark squares, they all just look completely horrendous.
But in the game, rook
takes f4 and rook e8, I wasn't happy with the developments, and I wanted more out of the position.
But rook f4 was rewarded with an immediate blunder.
Yes, luckily. because it could easily have gone the other way. Queen e5 is a very natural move, and I hadn't seen it when I took with the rook. It was only afterwards that I started calculating. I found out that bishop takes f7 might be a possibility.
And after g5, it was just lights out.
Yeah, I wanted to point out a few pretty mates that I saw, because I saw quite a few.
Show us.
Yeah, so after what he played, bishop a4, queen h5, bishop e3, king h2, and g4. King h1. The one I liked the most was bishop takes f7. And then, like he played, king g7. But after rook g6, then king h7. Because here there's rook takes h6. And bishop takes. And then queen g6, king h8, and queen takes h6. I really like this one.
It's nice. Very nice. He didn't allow you to get this one in. He played king f7.
Yeah, but this one is actually quite pretty too. It's quite nice to see how the white pieces are working so well on the light squares. And the bishops, they take away a lot of squares from me. They just don't take away the right one.
It's uncommon to have 3 heavy pieces taking lines like that. It's quite beautiful.
Ellen, that was a nice game and some nice explanations. It was great to
At least I beat one of the Seo brothers, I can say.
Well, 1.5 out of 2 against them is not so bad.
I'm not complaining. I am not complaining.
Ellen, a final question before I let you go. I know that you've had a very successful summer. I think your best result came at the Offerspiel tournament in Oslo. So maybe tell us how the last few months. You said you've played quite a bit over the summer. So how did that go?
Well,
overall?
actually, I started by playing in Estonia at WIM tournament, and I was very close. Well, I don't know how close I was, but it felt like I was very close to making a norm there, because I needed 6 points out of 9, and before the last 2 I had 4.5, and I completely destroyed my opponent in the 8th game. But then I blundered, and I felt like if I had won that game, then I might have been able to get the draw in the last round. So that was a bit sad, but then I went home and I went to Norway to play. And I don't know how it happened, but for some reason they just worked out for me in a way that they have never worked out for me before. And I got the WIM norm with a round to spare, which was very nice, because I've been close quite a few times. I missed it by half a point at the Olympiad in 2018.
And you beat a grandmaster along the way, right?
Master, yeah. Not 2500 plus grandmaster, but a grandmaster.
We don't talk about those things.
And after my norm, I went to Hungary to play, and I actually didn't do worse in Hungary than I did in Norway. My performance rating in Hungary was even 3 points higher than it was in Norway, but I didn't play enough title players to get my second norm, which was a bit sad, but at least I have the rating requirement now, so I don't doubt that the norm stable comes
They
soon.
will follow, I'm sure. I'm absolutely sure they will. Ellen, tomorrow is the last round, the last 2 rounds, so we will let you go now, but it's been great having you on. Thank you so much for your time. Congratulations with the win and best of luck tomorrow.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Okay, so Ellen, I love how optimistic she is. She's a very optimistic young lady.
She has a core of self-confidence, which is very important in order to be good at chess, and it's great to see.
Yeah, I'm sure we're gonna be hearing plenty more of her. But now let's jump back to this one is over. So it seemed to be getting over. We saw it here after Queen E7, and he just brought his king up and found the most, he didn't want any of this endgame nonsense.
Yeah.
and found a quicker way to end the game. So that means that going into the last 2 rounds tomorrow, and then we'll have a look at what's still ongoing. So this game number 2 has ended in a win for white. So that means Milton is on 6 out of 7, and Siem Vandal and Jung Min Seo are on 5.5, just half a point behind. Felix Bloberger has won his game on board 4. So let's have a quick look at boards 5 and 6. So board 5, Isaac Sturmer against Khan Kokuchari. And this one seems...
White is winning, yeah.
Yeah. And I guess that is actually a resignation. I don't think played King E4. So Isaac Sturmer with the win here. We didn't see any of the game. Let's just see what is still ongoing. So board 6, Hilmer Frey Heimisson against Axel Falkevall.
Mm-hmm.
This one is also looking very bad for that white king is looking in a whole world of pain.
Yes.
Plus being down in exchange and 2 pawns.
Yeah, bishop g4 was a very easy way to win, but this also works.
Bishop g4. And the point is you were going
Queen.
to...
Queen g1.
Oh, that is even.
And take on g4 with check, and then everything is open, sort of.
I'm even trying.
Queen takes g4.
Queen. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. But bishop h3.
It's probably a mate somewhere with queen g1. And then queen f1.
Yeah,
very efficient.
The problem for white is he does not even have a single check.
Yeah, I saw a way to exchange a piece, and Axel, he saw a way to mate.
Indeed. So bishop e3 has been played. But what is the idea if I just take it?
You get your queen out. That is the idea.
So let's see.
But then queen d3 check, it's, yeah.
And now what is the fastest win here?
I think just bishop f5 is very simple, because it takes away bishop e4 check, and after now queen e7 check, you can play queen g7.
After, yeah. And that is a full rook, so even if there is no mate, that is going to be enough, and this was, so this is on the board, and queen g3, so we are going down this line, and Axel Falkevall is about to wrap this one up, so let's see if we have anything else still ongoing. Apparently boards 8 and 9, so let's go to board 8. And this one also looks very close to being game over. Daniel Johnson should wrap this one up shortly. And then on board 9, William Olsen against Annemarie Mutsch. So white is down a pawn.
It looks good for black. Very good for black.
White is also probably going to run out of checks here at some point, I guess.
Yeah, it's threatening queen d2 check at the moment, winning the knight.
Actually, he's already run out of... He's already run out of checks.
No, maybe there is... Is there a checkmate even? No, there's not. But taking the knight on e3 looks good enough.
Taking the knight on e3.
Queen d2 check, yes.
Okay, I was trying to make queen e3 work, and I was thinking, why do we have to take such
give a
drastic...
check on e1. Give a check on e1 also first.
Yeah. So let's see what she plays. So queen e1, king h2.
Now take on e3. That's the easiest way, and then you can just run away with the king when the queen takes on c6.
Yeah, that does look convincing. So let's see if we have anything else still going. Board 12, Edwin Trost against Adam Frank. That one must be over. And board 14, a clash between the two ladies. Victoria Radeva against Zala Ur. Can you see? I'm always curious with these endings whether you can see immediately if this is a win or a draw.
No, I'm not very good at seeing these things immediately. There is no standard position that I know from within that is like this, so I have to calculate a few moves before I get an answer, sort of. So the question is, if black checks on f6, king g7, check on f7, king g8, and now maybe we just helped white to get the pawn forward. So now white is winning, so that doesn't work. And if we...
She gave the check on f6, by the way.
Yeah. Because if we go to something like f1, then rook e4 check, I think now it's just winning to play h7.
Maybe even something like this, no?
Yeah, but you don't need that. You just play h7, because on check now you play king h5.
And you build the bridge here. Yeah.
So it's quite simple.
So actually this is on the board, and this must be over, I guess.
Yeah, after rook f1 now, rook g4, and I don't see a way to survive this. No.
Yeah. Okay, and then there is a last game, I think, still going on board 16, Arthur Kruckenhauser against Joach Oslund.
Yeah, here white is, of course, completely winning. How was Ludwig Carlsson board 13? Is it already finished, or?
That was finished. Ludwig Carlsson won his game against Karel Protzka.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll update the results one final time, but I think that's going to complete the show today, since all the results, all the games at the top are done. Look at this, we didn't have a single draw. And I think out of the remaining games we looked at, all of them were decisive as well, yeah?
Yeah.
Incredible.
Could be some kind of record.
I really think so. I mean, 20 boards, and it's not like it's a round one where there's such big, rating disparities. So that is absolutely incredible. What a fighting round this was. And it means that going into tomorrow's round 8, I've said it before, I'll say it again, Milton Panzer is the sole leader. And I didn't realize, actually, Jung Min Seo was half a point behind, so Siem van Dahl is the only pursuant on 5.5, and then 3 players on 5. Isaac Sturmer, Jung Min Seo, and Felix Bloberger, and then a group on 4.5. With Jakob Husa, with Hampus Sørensen, with Vignir Wagner Stefansson, and Yatsen Nemetz, and Axel Falkewall.
Yep.
So those are the results. Tiger, it's been an absolute pleasure commentating on those 2 rounds with you. Thank you very much for your time and for all your insights, and hopefully see you again very soon. Have a lovely evening.
Goodbye.
Bye
Have a
bye.
nice day, you too. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Okay, so that concludes this round 7 coverage. I see Ellen has already found her way into the stream once again. Congratulations, Ellen. Thank you very, very much, and it was so great having you on the show at last. And that means tomorrow is the last day of this tournament already. Whenever I take my headphones off, I realize I've just been shouting for the last 2 hours. So try and tone it down a bit. But this is it for round 7, and tomorrow is the last day. Round 8, our coverage will start 2 hours into the round, so the round starts at 10 a.m. We will go live at noon with International Master Jesper Hall. And then round 9, the last round of the tournament, Niels and I will be covering the whole round. So we will go live tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. So tomorrow noon and 4 p.m. Central European time. That's where you can catch us. Thank you so much to everyone for watching, and I will send you over. It's my pleasure to get to raid him at last. It's been too long. The Ginger GM is live, so who else could I possibly raid? Hopefully he's doing well in his Title Tuesday. Thank you so much to everyone. It's been fun as always, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night. Take care. Bye. Bye.